They might be self-aware.
Gary here, recording from the premium payphone facility outside a Shell station where the bathroom key weighs more than what I'm making today. So listen, the guys, Hunter and Daniel, are saying there's no AI bubble because Jensen Huang sold 57 billion in GPUs. We're talking trade commas or 800 million gas station hot dogs. I did the math. And they're debating whether we're at the beginning or the end of spending, which I'm just going to level with you. I really need this to be the beginning. Also, they mentioned launching data centers into space, and honestly, this phone booth sounds more structurally sound than that idea. Enjoy the show.
We're sorry. You have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service.
Riding the last wave of human control for that final peak at a chrome blood sunrise. It must be, they might be, self-aware. You saw the sunrise this morning, right, Daniel?
I wasn't up that early. Despite having 2 young children, not up that early, thank goodness.
Daniel, you're getting me down. I've got some good news, some positive news.
The cult, it's taking off. We got the robes.
I'm not supposed to talk about that. The bubble, though. We've been talking about the bubble. That there's
That's
a
right.
bubble. It's an AI bubble. It's getting really big. It's about to pop. We're seeing little elements of it popping. But
Maybe. Popping
But-
a little.
But
But
there's no bubble, Daniel. The
Yes.
bubble was a lie. The bubble was a lie. And how do
Everything
we know
is
this?
going to be AI forever, and there's no bubble.
There's no bubble. And who has brought
So when
us
we
this?
saw all the economic indicators go from like this to this, it's
Well, I didn't-
forever this. The rocket ship,
I'm not necessarily commenting on our economy as a whole. There may be some problems.
like a third of it is AI now.
There may be some problems. But the one that's not the problem, Daniel, is the AI. Well, the AI may become the problem, but it's not a bubble because our savior, Jensen Huang, am I saying that correct? Jensen
Yes,
Huang?
for sure.
Huang?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
Huang, with his leather jacket, has come out and announced Nvidia made $57 billion last quarter, a record quarter. They've sold out of everything. There's a huge backlog of people. People
They
want
only
GPUs.
made that much money because they physically couldn't make more stuff
Correct.
to make more money on.
Correct. Yeah. And they made $57 billion worth of video cards, and it still wasn't enough.
This is going to sound like a bit of a left turn here. Do you know what Funko Pops are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The toys?
For those who are not familiar, they're toys. They're like big head, big eye versions of like characters from different shows, movies, and whatever.
Okay.
And the reason why I bring them up is because there was a time where they were so popular. And they were everywhere. And they were starting to then saturate the market. And now they are still everywhere, often heavily discounted. They haven't gone away. The Funko Pop bubble popped. And I think that Nvidia, at a certain point, is going to have helped build. They're not the ones building the data centers. Everyone else is building as many data centers as they possibly can. If you look at any small town, all of them, every single small town across the entire United States, I am exaggerating slightly, there's going to be a lot of local hubbub of, they're thinking of building a data center out here, and we definitely shouldn't. Or, oh, hey, think of the tax revenue. We should definitely. Look, wherever you stand on that issue, there's a ton of data centers. A ton of data centers coming up. And there is a point at which we ran out of data centers. They made them all. And then you still need to refresh the video cards on those every however many years. Sure, fine. But like the insane breakneck pace of, we just need more GPUs, as many as can physically be made. No, more than that. That pace, I firmly believe, will hit a peak that it hasn't happened yet, apparently, but will hit a peak, after which point it's not going to then go down to zero, but it will go down. There will be a correction of, we made all of the data centers and now they have to cruise and replace things as they come out. So that Nvidia stock, hey, here's my super official financial advice. I don't think that everyone should be shorting it or selling it or anything like that, but I do think that the rate of growth won't continue forever, because there is a point at which we've got
nothing continues forever, Daniel. But I mean, the question is, are we close to it stopping, or are we just beginning? Are we near the end, or are we near the beginning? Let me just ask. I'm going to simplify it down. Yes, is your answer?
I'd say yes to that.
To both?
Yeah, either. Sure.
Choose one.
Nah, I'm good. I'd say we're not at the beginning, because the beginning already happened. We saw the beginning. That was as soon as OpenAI. That wasn't GPT 3.5. That was like 6 months after that, where you first start hearing of, now Microsoft OpenAI needs extra compute, so they're going to talk to this other company. Like, that's the beginning.
I disagree.
Now, everybody and their grandmother is like, we need a data center.
Look, if we're moving to the moment where 99% of jobs are done by computers, by robots, by AI, we're at the beginning, dude. We're not near the end of that. We're at the beginning.
We need a $30,000 H100 GPU per person at the very least.
We're at the beginning. I'm saying we are at the beginning. There are so few jobs today that are just completely taken over by AI. And if we are aligned that is the future that we are marching towards, we are at the beginning. And like, we've got a long ways to go. We're going to get there, but we're at the beginning.
Depending on who you talk to, LLMs are or aren't the actual future. Some of the Nvidia folks, especially a variety of people in this sort of space are saying, no, not LLMs. It's got to be world models, or it's going to be some other thing. We kind of talked about this a little.
Nvidia isn't LLM specific.
They're basically synonymous these days. But you're right, like the architectures that they have and the CUDA library, for those of you who don't know, don't worry about it. It's just special software that it only asterisk runs on Nvidia chips, and they run a lot better. Point is, Nvidia, until they are dethroned at the software level, and it's been long enough you'd think it would have happened by now, they're the people to go to when it comes to this bleeding edge, biggest amount of compute when it comes to LLMs and their ilk, shall we say, machine learning. Unless you look at Google and their TPUs, which they're not selling to other people.
Now, I would agree with you that there's no guarantee. In fact, it's probably more likely that it won't be than it will be, that it's Nvidia at the end. If we assume we're at the beginning of this revolution right now, when we get to the end, who is the company that is dominant above all? Today it's Nvidia. Will it be Nvidia at the end? I'll take the field versus Nvidia.
So when it comes to, we want to do a machine learning about it, we're going to do LLMs. There is another company that makes extremely good, really fast hardware for like serving these large language models. They're called Groq, not Groq with a K, the Q? Twitter /X, whatever. Yeah, with a Q. And apparently they're like the actual chip, the microchip.
No relation to Mecha Hitler?
No relation to that. It's huge, like a very physically large thing, not like a GPU that you could put in your computer. They're like, they're really big. They also cost a squazillion dollars or whatever a piece. And so I don't actually know for sure if you can buy them like directly from the company, but most people use them as like the vendor. And I think they're doing very well these days. They got into the game way before the LLM craze. They just happened to be working at like the matrix multiplication type things that LLMs need a ton of. So they were very well positioned for this. Most people haven't heard of that company because it's not something that you would buy for like home use or whatever. And it does cost a gazillion dollars and so on. But
you can use them for inferencing too, right? You can.
And like not just inference of, I have a fairly good graphics card at the like consumer level, but these things that Groq has beat the absolute pants off of anything that you could have at home. Even like the quote unquote the H100s or those really big server type things. If you really want extremely fast token generation, one of these gigantic GPU type things from Groq is the way to go. So why do I mention all of that? You're saying Nvidia, they're beating earnings. It's going to be them forever.
No, I said I take the field versus Nvidia.
Oh, Hunter definitely said it's only Nvidia. Make sure to invest in them. I want to really mention that there are other players in the field, whether it be AMD, who keeps always lagging behind, or if Groq says, hey, we made a cheaper version of this thing and it's available to everyone and it only costs $4,000, I don't know, whatever. Or Google decides that they're going to get into the consumer hardware game for like PC parts and they say, our TPUs, now you can buy some. Shoot. Then we've got, some real competition going. Right now, there is no real competition, though. If you're a normal person buying a graphics card that you're going to use a graphics card for LLM stuff, it's Nvidia. And if you're a company building out a data center, it's going to be Nvidia cards. What are they serving on those, though, these days? Is it all still OpenAI?
What are they serving on?
On all the graphics cards and all these data centers. Is it just OpenAI?
No, there are many different companies.
No, I feel like I don't hear about anyone else releasing anything else these days. He says leadingly and lyingly.
I mean, I think the biggest customer for Nvidia was the other Groq, the Groq with the K, because they're building up massive data centers, and I guess Elon's close with Jensen Huang and some handshake deal. But I assume you're alluding to the other big story of the week, which was also seen as another validation that we are not in a bubble, which was Google's release of Gemini 3.
Yes. It's doing very well on all the benchmarks, and depending on who you talk to, the benchmarks are or aren't the be-all or the end-all. Huge jump up on the really big one, Humanity's Last Exam. Just look at all the chart of everyone else, and whoop!
Have you
Gemini
used it?
3 is way up there.
Have you gotten your hands dirty?
It's only been a few days as of this recording. I have not gotten any chance whatsoever to play with Gemini 3. I've been reading a bunch about it, and people seem very excited. But people also get excited about anything new that plops into their lap.
I've been using it just in a coding context. That's the only. But
now, for coding, this is an interesting thing about Gemini 3. It doesn't seem like it really moved the needle forward on the coding-related benchmarks. Anecdotally, people are saying that it does great, but a lot of the extra smarts that this thing seems to have aren't coding related. It's more like world understanding and multimodal this and image understanding. Have you, anecdotally, of course, seen that it's around at the level of a GPT-5 or a Claude 4.5 or a whatever?
Anecdotally, it seems like it's superior. And superior because it's better at one-shotting a solution and that solution actually working. In my experience, I guess I've spent about 2 days now developing with it. And I've seen lots of examples online where they give the same challenge. It's usually some sort of description of an app. It usually has some sort of graphics, and they want to see bubbles rendering. And there's some technical complexity there. And they give it to GPT-5 High and Gemini 3 and usually Suno 4.5. Not Claude 4.5. It sings a song to them while
sings you a song about the code that you wanted
before the show. So,
are you going to?
Freudian
Should we talk about that? Are we going to release that to people?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean that's just a whole sort of side. Well, we'll play it at the end of the show if people. Okay, so. Great. Now that other people are charting with their country western songs, They Might Be Self-Aware has an official entry into it. So if you stay to the end of the show, we will debut. There'll be a debut of the song's actually called They Might Be Self-Aware. But I think it's a classic, dude.
I like it. I genuinely like it. I'm not much of a country music guy. I think I mentioned that when we were talking about the charting song. It sounds good.
Going back to Gemini 3, though, in my experience, it's fast. It is cheaper than using GPT-5 High.
It's cheaper than Claude as well.
Right. And it's been doing really well in me giving it fairly complex things that I need implemented, coming back, taking a look at it. I've been very happy with that. Now, one of the reasons why people are saying this is further validation that it's not an AI bubble, as people were building out all these data centers, the idea was, or the hypothesis was that, hey, if we just put more horsepower behind LLMs, we will get better LLMs. Let's just train on bigger clusters with more data. We will get better models. And people have been becoming increasingly skeptical of this. Like where this, it's the, what is the, I hate the word, asymptotic. It's the asymptotic curve where you're approaching. You can always maybe just go up the tiniest little bit more, but you're never going to, maybe we're approaching the maximum. But Gemini 3 is seen as validation where they trained on the biggest cluster ever known to humanity, and they built a model that seems to be the best model ever known to humanity. Suggesting that, hey, let's build an even bigger cluster. Let's build even more data centers. And there's still...
Let's turn the entire planet just into a computer at this point.
There's more to be had out of LLMs. You mentioned the other debate that's going on. And, well, maybe this is just an LLM bubble. It's not an AI bubble. We just need to break out of LLMs into the what comes next.
Sure, maybe. I mean, yes. Or not. We'll see. So regarding the AI bubble thing,
yeah,
when it comes to the biggest mind share, and I think that is changing, honestly, but the biggest mind share in the large language model space is OpenAI. They were sort of first to the game, depending on how you define large language models.
I was going to say
I'm using the sort of like modern interpretation of it, which is say it's kind of GPT 3.5 and above, even though other stuff before then technically counts a little. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, OpenAI, depending on what article you're reading and so on, and I don't think all of their financials are completely out in the open. They're losing like $15 million a day. They are to say they are non-profitable is one of the more charitable things that you could say regarding their finances. This is like half of the money is going into one of those big industrial shredders with the cool arms that sort of overlap, and it'll take anything, just crush it up. That's half the money. The other half of the money isn't going into a fire. It's going into a volcano, just right into the caldera, just entire truckloads of money as fast as they can back them up, beep, beep, and just right into the fire. That's how quickly they're going through money. Google makes money. They don't not make money. They do make money. Now that's interesting because one of the, an aspect of what caused like the .com bubble, for example, what has a lot of the effect in kind of the venture capital type space, which ostensibly you could say OpenAI is kind of in that sort of realm. It's a scrappy startup, right? Ish, not really. You need to have a return on the investment. There has to be a point at which you not just break even, but you make lots of money. OpenAI doesn't do that. And while, granted, Gemini 3 is, or Gemini in general, large language models, is not the only business that Google, Alphabet, whatever, does, the business as a whole remains profitable. And that bodes well for long-term continued this thing still existing and being able to have more money thrown at it, right?
You're saying Google versus OpenAI. Some might suggest that they're kind of close, but in reality, Google is probably 10x plus an OpenAI in terms of likelihood of being around in 10 years.
Absolutely, yes. 100% yes. I don't think that OpenAI, first off, OpenAI had basically 100% of not just mind share, but market share when it came to large language models.
True. From
the earliest days until not terribly long ago. And then I've seen some fun little charts online that show the OpenAI, like it's mostly from the API usage as opposed to going to like, I wish to chat with a large language model. People probably still just go to chat.
I believe in an enterprise context, actually, Anthropic beats OpenAI, which you would never guess.
Yeah, exactly.
And not to mention Google and Microsoft.
And their numbers have been absolutely climbing. Yeah. And so OpenAI at the enterprise, at the API, whatever level, has been absolutely dropping. I don't see any particular reason that they would pull things around at this point. There are open weights models that you could download, not that the average consumer can like run them, but those things have been nipping way at the heels of OpenAI, and I am using them specifically as the punching bag here, let alone all the other players. But also, I keep talking about how much I really love Anthropic's Claude models. I really want to start playing around with Gemini 3 because I've heard very good things, very early things, but still, I think OpenAI, not having a rest of a business around it that happens to also have and use large language models, they might not be around in a few years. You can't burn $15 million a day, even with a ton of Microsoft backing, forever.
Well, it's definitely part of it that the burning of the money is a little bit fake, right? It's we're exchanging again. So a lot of it is some
of the money isn't really money going back and forth, but right. There's a lot
the
of
money never existed,
and there's only so much money coming in as revenue from people's $200 a month subscriptions.
Right. I actually charge to record each of these podcasts about $3 million. Every episode we record, I charge $3 million. But Daniel also has a $3 million appearance fee for every episode. Daniel will not go. If you don't know this, try to book Daniel on your show. Reach out to him. I don't know, Daniel@something.com. He's going to come back and say, yeah, I'd love to do it. $3 million, please.
Yeah.
And by the way, he shows up on time. He's nice most of the time.
Yeah.
You just got to pay him the $3 million. So we do this again. I pay him $3 million, but there is the fee. I have a fee, $3 million. And that's kind of how a lot of the OpenAI money works. Microsoft is going to invest $25 billion into OpenAI. OpenAI happens to have a $25 billion Microsoft bill. Okay. No money exchanged hands.
Some of it is real money, though. Some of it is the money that is now in the OpenAI coffers that's being, spent to pay their employees and keep the gazillion data.
There is some real money. I will agree with that. But the money is a small fraction of the numbers that are stated. A lot of those numbers that's the shuffling of money around Silicon Valley and all the different Nvidia puts some money over here and
these
Oracle puts some money over here. These people promised to buy
this number of chips because these people are now getting X amount of service. Sure, there is a lot of that, but the $15 million a day thing that I see supposedly is much more about the actual operational costs of running this thing.
Employees. Not their server bills?
No, the servers and presumably employees, the overhead. They're not paying their servers. Always tip your servers, folks. I think that's how that works, right? So we're not in an AI bubble because at least somebody's making some money. And also Nvidia. Well, Nvidia's
might be in an LLM bubble.
Google's making some money. It ain't OpenAI.
Well, no one's making money. I guess your point is Google is making money. They're not making money on AI, though. They're making money off of showing me stupid ads on YouTube. Sorry, YouTube. Sure. And I pay the whatever it is. I don't know what the number is. There's a number you can pay, and then they won't show you the stupid
$200 a month. That's what everything. That's the top tier for everything these days. So if Google's making money and we're not in a bubble, why then does Alphabet, Google's parent company, their CEO Sundar Pichai? I've never actually heard the guy's last name pronounced. Sundar. Why is the Alphabet CEO saying that the current AI investment boom has, quote, elements of irrationality?
Because it's highly speculative. And the numbers are insane.
Everybody and their aunt is making a data center these days. At some point, it's going to be like the Chinese investment in housing where, oops, we made way too much.
The hypothesis is that the world is going to change in such a dramatic way that it will be completely unimaginable to what we see today, and that this is going to happen, let's just say, over the next 10 years. But if that is true, there's an incredible opportunity out there. Have I got something for you if you're willing to buy into this? So yeah, it does have elements of irrationality, and there will certainly be lots of bad bets, but I don't know. I think we're at the beginning. I still think there's insane opportunity out there. We're nowhere near. We're not near the middle. We're not near the first quarter. We're at the 5. We're 5% there.
Let me put this in a different sort of perspective.
Yeah.
Hunter, whenever a new model comes out, like a Gemini 3 or a Claude 4.5 from 4 or a GPT 5 or 5.1 from a 4 or 4.1 or 4.5, depending on how
I've got a headache.
Yes, way too many points in there. My point is, Have you at any point, I said the word too many times, now I reach semantic satiation, and it doesn't mean anything to me. Is there a time at which you said, I'm good, I'm not going to bother upgrading to the next model. I'm fine here?
No.
No. It still is worth going to the next thing up. And not only is it worth going to the next thing up, has there been a time at which you, Hunter, said, you know what? This is a fad. I'm not going to use large language models to help me with my code or do my emails or have done Daniel's performance review while you and I still work together. Is there, have you decided this is a flash in the pan and said, I'm good. I'm actually going to stop using these tools? Or has this become integral to your workflow?
It is my workflow. It's not only integral to my workflow; it literally is my workflow. But these workflows,
more people, right?
Rapidly. I came up with a whole new workflow on Saturday. It's been Saturday in the library. Got a brand new workflow, and I love it. I think it's the next greatest thing. And I'm sure in another week it'll be old, right?
Right.
But
okay, so you're still using these tools. Do you think other people who are using them will continue to use them?
I mean, there are lots of people who are just still dismissive of the tools, and they try
and some people aren't using them at all yet and probably should be.
Here's the thing.
Is adoption going to continue? If we're saying that we're getting to the future where everybody has their job automated away, there's that intermediary point where everyone's using the tool at their job, right?
Yeah, adoption absolutely continues. The thing is that we're still really far from perfection. We're far from perfection, and we're far from instant. These are two things we are far from. So you gotta wait for things to come out, and sometimes, I mean, I guess it depends on what you're doing. But even in my things, it's not uncommon for me to have to wait several minutes to get the response back,
as opposed to several days or something.
Sure, absolutely.
Yesterday at work, I did a week of work. At least 1 week in one day. Easily. There was a big thing that was broken. I had to
Does that mean you get to take the rest of the week? I had to make a bunch of changes.
The amount of iteration that I did was at least 1 week of work yesterday.
All my troubles seem so far away.
Okay. If people are going to keep using it, they're going to keep upgrading to new models, more people are going to do it, then we're not in a bubble because adoption will continue. There's going to be more people using it. There is more need for more data centers. There is going to be a need for continued development of the models themselves. Irrational or otherwise, number go up faster than we see, and it looks like other bubbles. Maybe there's a correction at some point. As I said earlier in the episode, there's a point at which we made all the data centers we could possibly have. And sure, you can swap out the video cards, but there is saturation. There has to be a saturation of the market of at least places where the compute happens. However,
hold on, actually.
No, because otherwise we get to the gray goose scenario where the entire planet is just computer.
And I want you to pay particular attention to that last word that you said. So there is a significant amount of talk about moving the data centers into space and having them being solar powered. And by the way, this is not science fiction, Daniel. This is not science fiction. We move the data centers into space. They're solar powered off the sun. We increasingly have good internet up in space, right?
So, dear listeners, Hunter and I have a set of news articles that we look at before this. And we're usually on the same page. I don't know what the hell he's talking about right now. I've never heard of this. I haven't seen so much as like a half a blog post of what if we put the data centers, things famous for needing a ton of water for cooling, and cooling is not a very easy thing to do in space. What if there's a bunch of gigantic heat generating data centers, heavy things, and put them into space? Please, Hunter, continue.
I've basically said my piece, but we are not limited by this planet. And there are people
are saying this. Is this just Hunter?
No, it's not. It's not just Hunter, okay? Definitely someone else. I may have had a conversation with Groq in my Tesla this morning about what if we look to the skies
It wasn't foggy in your Cybertruck, but there was kind of a haze, and you're saying, hey, Groq, what if we took all the AIs and we punched them into space? Whoa, man.
It's
and you
not
have Groq call you Shaggy for some reason.
It's all happening, and it's all happening right here on your number one podcast about something. I don't know what you figure out with the long tail that we're the number one about.
But we are number one at it.
It, yes.
Great.
Right here on They Might Be Self-Aware. You can find us pretty much everywhere. We're everywhere. We're omnipresent. We're with you right now. We're in the room with you right now if you look hard
And
enough.
in the cloud. We're here with you.
In the cloud, soon to be in space. Mm-hmm. Broadcasting live from a satellite near you. Why not? Why not? YouTube.
I've got nothing to say to that. Yeah, sure. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
There's another one. Yeah, that one. Yep. Subscribe if you haven't. Our numbers are going up. That's awesome to see. We're super happy for those of you who have subscribed. And if you haven't subscribed, we're not happy. We've got a bone to pick.
That's
and
true.
for $3 million, we'll discuss it with you. All right, that's all for this week, but we will be back actually later this week with another episode of...
They might be self-aware.
Down at the mill where my granddaddy stood, now it's all steel arms and they work real good. No need for calloused hands or a back that bends. They clock in sharp, they don't need friends. They might be self-aware, but they ain't got a soul. Don't know the price of bread or the cost of coal. They hum and they wear, they take what was ours. Yeah, they might be self-aware, but they'll never see stars. Diners shut down, no one needs to eat. When the trucks drive themselves and the drones bring meat, a smile don't matter when no one's around. Just circuits and wires in a ghost of a town. I ask myself, what's a man supposed to do when even the machines don't need me to? They might be self-aware, but they ain't got a soul. Don't know the weight of dreams or the pain of growing old. They hum and they wear, self-aware, but they'll never see stars. I could learn to code or pack up and leave, but this land's in my blood. It's the air I